and welcome to the When Harry Met Onnie podcast, episode number 5. My name is Emily. I am your host. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania with my husband, and I am an attorney by day, and I like to knit and crochet. And if you've stumbled across my podcast, thank you so much for joining me. If you're a return viewer, welcome back. You can keep up with me on Instagram at When Harry Met Onnie, that's ONNIE. I'm on Ravelry as Mmeister. And if you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe so you will get a notification when I post a new episode, which quite honestly is not every week like I thought it was going to be when I started doing this, but I record when I can and it's always a fun time. Since I last recorded at the very, very end of September, I got married. So my husband and I went out to Estes Park, Colorado. We had about 23 guests join us, and we did a small destination wedding, and we were able to honeymoon afterwards in Denver, Boulder, Colorado Springs. So it was a really fun time. But now I'm back and doing all of the knitting and all of the gift knitting and even some crocheting. So I thought I would record an episode and share all of that with you. When I went out to Colorado, I made it a point to check out some of the local yarn shops and also some of the, I guess what I would call yarn haunts, because they weren't necessarily yarn shops, but they sold some local yarn. So I think maybe the next time I record an episode, I'll do a special prime time segment, which is my segment where I talk about acquisitions to my stash, but I'll do one that's focused on Colorado specifically and the stores I went and what I bought there, what I've made, and what I plan to make. But I'm going to follow the typical format that I do. I think we're going to stick to today. I'm going to show you a project from the vault. I'm going to go into some finished objects. I'll share with you my works in progress. And then I have, I just forgot to bring something in here. So that'll have to wait until next time. But works in progress and then prime time. So thanks again for joining me, and let's get started. So for my From the Vault object, I am going to show you this Afghan that I've been working on for about 2.5 years. This is called the Wintertime Warmer. I cannot find the pattern, and I cannot find the book that I think the pattern is in. I have one Instagram picture of me casting on this project, and I flashed the picture of the pattern, but so I know it's called the Wintertime Warmer, but I have no idea anything beyond that. But you know, it's very easy to follow once you get the pattern. So anyway, it is a crochet Afghan. It has a base color, so I chose navy, and then there are there's 5 contrasting colors, but I used the yellow twice, so it's you do 6 of these post rows, and then you repeat it. So I'm finishing up the 4th repeat. The pattern, I believe, again, I don't have it anymore, but the pattern calls for 6 total repeats. And I can't really unfold it because you won't see more than this anyway. But I think you get the idea. But anyway, it calls for 6 repeats. I think I'm going to do 7 because I think it will be more of a square blanket. Right now, lengthwise, it measures about 6 feet. So this is going to be really big. I am making this for my former roommate, and also she was the maid of honor in my wedding. I promised to make her a crochet Afghan for her birthday back in April of 2016. And the reason I did that was because she was starting vet school at Cornell in the upcoming fall, so I knew it would be really, really cold there, and she would really benefit from having a nice warm Afghan. But I haven't gotten it to her, and now she is in her, let's see, she's in her 3rd year. So she's actually planning to come visit me with her boyfriend in January. So I would love to have it finished before then and have this like laid out on our guest bed so that she can take it with her when she goes. The other thing I want to say about this is it creates a really nice back. So this is the back of the project. I really like it. You just get like the little flecks of your contrast colors. Here's a close-up of the posts, the front. And what I like about this is that a lot of other Afghans I've made have been very holey, and this doesn't have holes. So there's really no danger of like sticking your toes through some of the holes. And I'm also trying to make it really, really big. So I think I will use 3 skeins of Red Heart Super Saver. All of the yarn in it is Red Heart Super Saver. Just acrylic yarn. I really like using acrylic yarn for Afghans. I mean, you really can't go wrong, especially with the amount of yarn you need. And then all of the other colors, again, they're also Red Heart Super Saver. So I am really going to try to finish this by January. This is great, like TV knitting. There's a couple new shows that I want to watch. Some movies. I'm actually watching all of the Harry Potter movies for the first time. I read books 1 through 5. I know, sorry. It was like everyone I know is like obsessed with Harry Potter, and I was, and then I was in summer camp when the 5th book came out, blah, blah, blah. So I only read books 1 through 4, but then as an adult, I went back and read 1 through 5 again. So I'm caught up to 5, and I haven't really seen the movies, so I'm watching the movies. But anyway, more than you need to know. So that is my wintertime warmer Afghan. It's living in this basket that I got from an antique store. So I have all of the skeins of yarn in there and the basket, and it makes like a nice decorative item. I just moved the camera. Oops. Makes a nice, you know, decoration in whatever room it is in. Okay, moving right along. I have 3 finished objects to share with you this week. So the first finished object I'm actually wearing. It is the Sirdar Alpine Snood. It is kind of like fun fur, except it creates like actual faux fur. But I mean, you can't even really tell if you're not a knitter. No one would suspect, I don't think, that this is knitted. The yarn was, let me check. It was Sirdar Alpine. The colorway is 0403 Brindle. I got this pattern when I purchased it to make the 2-ball Snood. It takes 2 skeins of the Sirdar. It's about 72 yards, so it took me like 2 nights to make it, and it probably would have taken me 1 if I had, you know, really wanted to complete it in 1 night. But I made this for my mom. I celebrate Hanukkah, and both my parents do as well, and I made this for her. My mom asked for one of her gifts to do a earmuffs for those who don't like swearing, but a stitch and bitch night. She knits as well, so I'm going to give her like a voucher, I guess, to do stitch and bitch, and then make her dinner. And along with that, I'm going to gift her this Snood that I made. And you know, she might want to make one herself in a different color if she likes it, but it's nice because here, I'll stand up. It just can sit just like this, or you can wrap it. It's a little tight, but you know, this would be nice around your neck when you go outside. So that is my Sirdar Alpine Snood. I purchased the yarn at Lamb Shop in Denver, Colorado. Again, I'll do a separate episode on my purchases from Colorado, but this one will be gone by then because tomorrow night is the last night of Hanukkah, so my mom will be getting it tomorrow night. Okay, I decided to take that off because it was getting really warm in here between the lights and I have a candle burning. So the Sirdar Alpine Snood is off. And my next finished object, unfortunately something I also will put around my neck to show you. This was technically a finished object in my last episode. It is my Elfreth's Alley Cowl, but I wanted to show it to you after I blocked it. So I blocked this. I have never blocked a garment before. And it was super easy. I think I just had a little bit of anxiety about not knowing what to expect or afraid I would do it wrong. But I used these Knitter's Pride knit blockers. And these are the ones that have like the teeth in them and are very sharp. So these combined with some mats that my husband has, like the interlocking mats that you put on the floor, I was able to block this and another garment that I'll show you. I put eucalyptus in a large pot and put it in my sink and soaked everything and wrung it out with towels and then pinned them on the mats. And it took like probably like 3 full days for everything to dry. But I really love how it came out. It really fixed, like, it made these lines here, right there, it made them really straight. Like before they were a little puckered. So it just makes everything really pop. So if your garments aren't looking great when you finish them, even if they're things like that aren't sweaters, if they're hats or scarves or wraps or cowls, and you know, you're like, I don't need to block this, you might want to try, because I'm really happy with this. Put it on. It just feels like it lays a little better than it did. So I wore this actually last night. My husband and I went to my workplace's holiday party, and my boss's wife complimented this cowl, and she said, you know, I said to her, I was like, oh, well, I made it, and she couldn't believe it. So I was really proud of that. But this is the Elfreth's Alley Cowl. It is a pattern by Craig Rosenfeld of Loop Yarn in Philadelphia. The yarn is Brooklyn Tweed Arbor in their Wreath colorway. So yeah, moving right along. I'll leave this on for now. Not as hot in this one. My neck is can breathe a little more. My next finished object is this beanie. This is the Red Hook Beanie by Maison Dene. It's a relatively new pattern on Ravelry. I was looking for a beanie to make my dad for Hanukkah. That's what he requested. Actually, it kind of floated the idea like, oh, what if I made you a hat? And we looked at some things that he might like. And I pulled up this pattern on Ravelry, and he was like, yeah, I think that's great. That's exactly what I like. I would even like if you could add a pom-pom. So, you know, if dad asks for a pom-pom, you make a pom-pom. So I found this really popular video on YouTube on how to make pom-poms that involves toilet paper rolls and some cardboard and scissors. And it was super easy. So I'm really happy with how this came out. It seemed like it would be a little bit small when I went, before I blocked it, but since I blocked it, I think it's going to fit him. I had Logan try it on, and it was a little tight on him, but he has a very large head. So I hope it fits my dad, and if it doesn't, then honestly, I could keep this and make his in probably a larger needle size. I didn't do gauge swatch or anything, but it is so soft. The yarn is this. This is KnitPicks Paragon in the ash colorway, and it is, let me find, 50% fine merino wool, 25% baby alpaca, and 25% mulberry silk. It is so soft, and it's even softer on the finished garment itself. Now, the pattern was interesting because it is a double brim. And it started out just doing stockinette, which had me very concerned because I just don't think hats really should be knit in stockinette because you get the rolled edge. Unless you're making like a baby hat where that's the intent, is to make the rolled brim. But I was getting really nervous because I didn't really know where it was going. And I read a little bit ahead, and what she has you do, I think her name is Gabby, but what the designer has you do is you knit like 6 inches of stockinette, and then you make a double brim. So you fold the hat up into itself, and then you kind of seam it together and you keep going. So, you know, I watched a YouTube video. She had a video linked in her pattern on how to make the double brim. That was super helpful. I just watched that and followed exactly along. And from there, it was smooth sailing. It's just stockinette, but I think like I don't know, to me it looks like something that you could buy, but it's so soft, it's handmade. I will put it on so you can see. It has a little bit of a slouch to it. So, and then you take the double brim and you fold it up. So yeah, I'm all decked out in my knitwear now, but this is going to my dad. And oh, he said he liked gray or navy. So I had this yarn. I have a sweater's quantity of this yarn in my stash. I don't know what really came over me, but I really wanted to make a sport weight sweater. I don't even remember what pattern I had in mind. Maybe like the Wintertime cardigan, I think was one of them. But I have so much yarn that when I thought about making my dad a hat, I thought this would be perfect. It's a nice color, and I only used 2 skeins. There's 123 yards per skein, so I used 2 skeins for the hat, and I used some of another skein for the pom-pom. So I really could just order 2 replacement skeins and then still have a sweater's quantity. And I would really love to have a garment in this. It's so soft. It was my first experience with KnitPicks yarn. After working with this yarn, I went and bought more KnitPicks yarn, which I'll show you in a minute. But I love how it turned out. So tomorrow's the last night of Hanukkah. And as with my mom, in addition to this hat, my dad has requested an experiential gift, let's call it. So we sometimes go and do trivia at a local brewery. So he has requested to do trivia night, and we are a trivia force to be reckoned with, let me tell you. So we have placed second a couple times and third another time, but we usually only compete the 2 of us against some groups that have like 6 people. So we're always pretty impressed with our performance. But anyway, yeah, this is my gift knit for my dad. Okay, let's talk whips. So I have 3 whips to share with you. 2 of them have been on previous podcasts, and one is a new whip. The first one is living in my Nicole Stitches, or NSP Designs project bag. The shop owner of NSP Designs also has a knitting podcast. Her name is Nicole. It's called the Nicole Stitches Podcast. I'm a big fan. Her bags are awesome. This is one of her large bags. It fits sweaters. Also, it fits really large shawls. So this is my pointed furs shawl by Versaci Knits. And oh, it's kind of hard to see because I'm in the middle of a row. Gosh. So you might not be able to see the whole thing. Sorry about that, but you can imagine. Oof, that's so annoying. I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, let's see. How can I best do this? Okay, so here, let's do it this way. Here's the shawl. It's very big, so, you know, you get the idea. Here's the, oh man, I really wish I weren't in the middle of a row on this. I did not realize. Now I'm at the point where it takes me like 25 minutes to do one row because there are so many stitches. But yeah, there's no excuse. I apologize again. But anyway, Okay, so this is the pointed fur shawl. This is a project that my craft circle / knitting group at work did as a knit along. I believe we have 3 completed pointed fur shawls, and mine and one other lady's shawl are not completed yet, but I'm working very diligently on it. It requires 3 skeins, about 750 yards of a worsted weight or a DK yarn. I chose Berocco Vintage DK, and I am just about ready to join the 3rd skein. It starts off with this really gorgeous, like, pointed fur pattern. That's the only way I can describe it, I guess. And then once you're done with many repeats of that, you move on to a garter border. So I'm on the garter border. I have about 30 rows of this left. It's very mindless knitting at this point, but I hope to be done with it. One of the ladies brought her finished one in this week, and it was really nice. She used multiple colors, which was super cool. So that is my pointed fur shawl. This was a shawl that I wanted to wear on my wedding, but unfortunately, I would not have had it finished by then. It would have taken way too long, and there was so much going on. Also, my dress was long sleeves, and it was like 60 degrees the day we got married, so I probably didn't need a shawl. The only time I needed a shawl was when I had to get my hair done at like 6:30 in the morning, and it was freezing. But anyway, hope to have that done soon, relatively soon. Okay, so for my next work in progress, I am knitting the Way Through the Woods mittens by Erica Mount. This was a knit along that was originally released in Clues, so I'm just about finished with Clue 2 of the first mitten. It's a colorwork pattern. You might recognize this pattern because Kristen of Volenvine and Nina of the This'll Knit podcast co-hosted a knit along that lasted from late September to late November. And I fully intended on getting these done, but it didn't happen. So I am almost done with the second clue. That's the front. We have a little deer, we have a fox, lots of little trees. We have Latvian braids. Lots of really neat design elements going on. I love the thumb. Like, you know, I haven't separated for the thumb yet or pulled off those stitches. I'm just about there, but that's a really nice detail where the contrasting yarn is making up the thumb. And then lots of little Bob Ross trees on the back. So yeah, I really love these. The yarn is Fibrarium. It is her greenhouse worsted. It is 100% superwash merino. The pink is called Rosy, and the gray is called Charcoal. So I have 2 issues with this yarn. I don't think it was the best yarn to pick for this pattern because there's no stretch to it. And with socks and with mittens, I think you need a little bit of give. But there isn't any with this. So, you know, I've been trying them on as I go. This is the right hand mitten, and it gets on perfectly fine, but it's tight. There's just no stretch to it. I did ask the designer, no, not the designer, the dyer, when I purchased the yarn, what yarn she'd recommend of hers for colorwork mittens, and she directed me to this yarn. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the colorwork is making it very tight. I don't do a lot of color work. This is only the second colorwork project I've ever done, so I think maybe I need to work on my tension. The way that I'm doing color work is I'm an English knitter, so I knit with my right hand, and every time I do a stitch, I knit a stitch, I take my hand off the needle. So not only am I an English knitter, but I also I'm not a flicker. So color work involves me doing what I usually do with my right hand, and then I've kind of crafted this way to use my left hand for the contrasting yarn and kind of tensioning my yarn. I don't know if you can see that, like that. So, and then kind of like picking. It seems to be working, but again, I mean, I think there's definitely some puckering here that you can see. I don't know how much of that is for the Latvian braids really, but I'm also worried because I'm getting second mitt syndrome, like this dreaded second sock syndrome, but we'll see. I mean, I really would love to finish these. I think they're just a beautiful design, so definitely a product in it, but the process has left a lot to be desired, and it's a slog, not gonna lie. It feels like a lot of stitches, and each clue, there are 4 of them, have like almost 50 rows, so it's a lot. But it's nice to have this project in the rotation along with some of my other shawls or the Afghan. You know, it's fun to work on different size needles for me. Oh, not in love with the bamboo needles either. I have recently, I think, become a convert completely to Chiagu steel needles. They're just so nice to work with. And I don't know if it's the combination of these needles with this yarn, but this yarn likes to be splitty, which it really frustrates me, especially the gray yarn. So again, I'm not sure if it's just, you know, a consequence of maybe picking the wrong yarn for the wrong project, or the needles I'm not enjoying working with, but I really want to finish these. I did not finish them in time for the end of the Forest Pigment and Cowl, which is what they were calling the knit along. But hopefully, I mean, maybe by the end of the year, maybe mid-January, no promises. But yeah, here are my Way Through the Woods mittens. One last flash for you. So I thought I would show you my project bag that I'm keeping my mittens in. Again, it's a project bag by NSP Designs. This was part of a collaboration she did with Fiber for the People. So I purchased this bag, and this is her medium-sized bag, and I got a skein of Fiber for the People and a mini, and it's all carnival theme. So love that. As if there weren't enough NSP Design bags. Nicole, I love your bag. I love your bags. You probably aren't watching this, but if you do, I love your bags. This is not an endorsement. I'm just a fan. But for my next work in progress, it is living in another NSP Designs bag. So here's the bag. This will be very familiar to you if you watched the podcast before. It is my Annalise wrap shawl. This is a pattern by Loop Yarn. They made these kits for this shawl. It's an asymmetrical shawl. Multicolored. This particular one is in Knitted Wit. It's in her, I think it's called Victory Fingering. I think it's a merino. But it is in the Rock Candy collection from Knitted Wit. So I've gone through pink, red, orange, yellow, green, and now I'm on teal. And I have blue and purple left. So it'll be really long when it's done. Get that whole, flash you that whole shawl. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. I'll be excited when it's done. I think I'll probably just wear it as like a scarf, not so much a wrap, but yeah, I'm excited for it to be done because I've been working on this for a very long time. The other cool thing about this shawl was that it generated a lot of mini skeins when I was done. So I participated in the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted exchange that was going around on Instagram, and a few people asked for minis as part of like a what's it called? Like a scrap, like fingering weight scrap blanket. So I sent off the red, orange, yellow, and green as part of little packages for several people who wanted minis. And I kept the pink because I had a lot more of the pink, and I think I can probably get like a pair of like shorty socks out of that. That might be a little optimistic, but that was super fun. And I guess that'll move me into my prime time segment. So As I mentioned, I participated in Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. It was really fun. I felt like the Ravelry fairy at one point because I was just like buying patterns for people left and right. I just thought it was such a fun thing. So thank you to anybody who purchased a pattern for me. That was one of my wishes. And another one of my wishes was to get any scraps of worsted or Aran weight acrylic yarn because that's what I use to make Afghans, and I would really love to make a scrappy Afghan. So I had 2 packages come, which was super nice. One was from Horrifi Knits and the other was from Daiquiri 35. So I'll quickly show you what they sent along. Horrifi Knits in particular sent me really nice worsted weight yarn from KnitPicks. So I don't know if I'll actually have the audacity, I should say, to make that into a scrap blanket, but maybe I'll make a hat out of it or, you know, some other garment and then use it. Okay, these were from Horrifi Knits. She sent me, what's it called? Brava worsted in peacock. And this is Brava worsted in paprika. Super nice. Like I said, like I think this is really nice yarn. Then from Daiquiri 35, I got a package of some really bright pinks and corals for my scrapgan. So she sent me this. And she sent me this. And she sent me this. Ooh. Thank you so much. She also sent me this really cute card, which has a knitted hat on it, and various chocolates and hot chocolate. I only have the hot chocolate left. And she also sent me some stitch markers, which are super cute, and I use them on my hat project. So thank you so much, both of you. It was so nice to receive packages, and I can't wait to do it again next year. It was so much fun. Hopefully I'll have more things to send out, and I'll have to think about my wishes and see if anyone can grant some of them, make them creative. Okay, so another thing that I purchased, so those are things I received in my mailbox, but one thing that I purchased was yarn for a sweater that hasn't been released yet, but I am super, super excited for it to be released. Ever since I saw pictures of it on Instagram, I just thought, okay, that sweater I have to make. Hell or high water, I will make that sweater. So it is called the RBG sweater. It is by Park Williams, I think is her last name. Her Instagram handle is Park and Knit, and she has a lot of really cool sweaters. And one of her design features are these like puffy sleeves. So the RBG sweater is in honor of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it looks like the top half of her robe, and it has this yoke that looks like one of the collars that she wears. And everyone knows RBG for wearing a dissent collar. When she issues an opinion where she doesn't agree with the rest of the court, she will wear a special collar as her dissent collar. So I'm a really big fan of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know, like as an attorney myself, as a female attorney, she really paved the way for a lot of other female attorneys and female judges, and just was super instrumental in a lot of the law surrounding gender equality and women's rights. With that said, KnitPicks was having a sale, so I sent Park an Instagram message and I said, hey, I'm not sure when this is coming out, but I'm going to be making your RBG sweater. Could you let me know what weight yarn it is and what yardage would be required for like a size medium? And I also told her like the design is a crop top, but I do not have the shape for a crop top, so I would like it to be like kind of come to my hip. But anyway, she said it will be a worsted weight yarn, or it'll be a worsted weight sweater, and she gave me the yardage. I think it was like 1120. So KnitPicks was having a sale on their Wool of the Andes. So I got a, what is this? A 10 pack of Wool of the Andes. It's still in the cellophane. This is in their colorway Cowl. It's just a black, and it is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 110 yards, and then I did the math, and I don't know if I think with the white, I won't need 1,100 yards of the black. She said 1120 for the medium, so I think I'll probably be okay with 1,100. I was thinking I would have to go back and order some more black, but I think maybe I'll just start making it and see what happens. So I ordered this for the body, and then I ordered it's called Cloud. The same base, just the different color. And I was waffling between whether to get white or this like kind of ivory color. And I think I'm going to send it back. And I think I'm going to, or I don't know, I might just keep it for something else. But I'm definitely going to get white, like a pure white. Because I was thinking about it more, and the collars that you see are usually like they look like a cotton white or like linen, you know? So I don't think this really, I want to do it right. But I think I'm going to go back and order just like the white. They have one. So yeah, but I'm very excited to make that. I heard a little bit of gossip on Instagram that apparently the pattern will be released sometime next week. So I am super excited. As I mentioned, I work in a law firm. We have casual Fridays, so I cannot wait to show up in my RBG sweater once it is done. So I will be like really irresponsibly casting that on and abandoning all other things that I have on the go right now because I'm so excited about that. So, whew, I just got very excited. So for my last prime time item, again, this is like the NSP Designs episode, but I ordered Notions pouches for my craft circle as holiday gifts, and I'm super excited to give them. I'm super excited to give them as Christmas gifts to these ladies. So I got 3 of these Nutcracker ones. Nicole was having a sale. I think it was a Black Friday sales when I got them. And then there are these llamas in little sweaters. Super cute. And I was very excited, so I picked up 6, and I don't know, I think I might just let them pick, or I might, like, I kind of thought personalities, like who would prefer this and who would prefer this, so I might just, you know, give them out and make an executive decision, but I was very excited to receive these in my mailbox. Yeah, I mean, I have 3 of her project bags, and I think it's really nice when you really like a designer to buy their products for other people so that they can experience them as well. So I am very excited to give these my fellow craft circle attendees these Christmas presents. So thanks, Nicole, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, I think that is all I have for you for this episode. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. All right, well, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy crafting, happy holidays, and see you soon. Bye.